get me started here.
Okay, so this is a pretty basic recipe. You're going to put the dry ingredients together, you're going to put the wet ingredients together, and then mix it all together. So Amy's got a couple cups of flour there, and then a couple cups of shredded carrots.
Okay.
And then, again, the spices that we had up in the front would be cinnamon, there's ginger, there's the cloves, and then go ahead and give the cardamom a smell before you add it. So you get a nice, spicier smell to it. This recipe also has baking powder and baking soda in it, so you need a teaspoon of each to give it that pop.
Oh, I love that. I can't even describe it, but it's wonderful.
Sweet and savory is that spice it works for. And,
all of it goes in here?
All of it. 2 full teaspoons. So it's a spiced cake for sure.
That's good. This is the baking soda.
Yep, and then baking powder's in the other one.
Baking powder, A little bit of salt.
Yep, always got to add a pinch of salt. That helps activate the baking powder and baking soda.
Yum. Cinnamon.
Cinnamon. Good tablespoon of some of that.
And then this is
cloves. And this recipe is going to have a couple teaspoons of cloves, which is kind of a lot, but that's what I like is that all the spices are equally spiced in there, so that one is not overpowering the other. So.
Okay.
And then I've got the wet ingredients here, which is going to be just getting 3 eggs in there.
Okay. When you grated these carrots, what's the best way to do that?
Out of ease, throw them through the food processor.
Yeah, I do love that, because it's otherwise you can use that box grater. But
yeah, which you only need 3 cups, but the food processor is a little bit faster for you, a little bit more consistent as well. A cup of just regular oil. We use canola oil, but you can use any type of vegetable oil will be just fine.
Okay.
And then we also have a cup and a half of sugar goes over here.
Okay.
And a splash of vanilla extract.
Are more and more people ordering carrot cakes as wedding cakes?
Yes, that and red velvet, just like the heavier, richer cakes are starting to come back through rather than that light white cake.
Right, that's kind of fun. Or people are doing different types of cakes, a couple different flavors, which is fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love carrot cake. And this one, like I say, you can really smell the spices.
It's definitely
really nice.
Spiced. All right,
so now we're wet and dry together?
Yeah, wet and dry together, kind of basic, and then I normally just fold it in by hand.
Okay, I'll do that, and you can work on the frosting, if you trust me on that.
I think so.
This is the cream cheese frosting, which makes me fall in love with carrot cake.
Yeah, you want about 8 ounces of cream cheese at room temperature.
Okay.
So pull it out just a little bit before you actually need it. And a couple ounces of unsalted butter, again at room temperature.
Okay.
And we're just going to let these go together just for a second.
And I get questions about that all the time. Why do you use unsalted butter when you're baking or in your frosting recipe?
Sure, and then you add salt typically to something as well. Salt is a preservative, so unsalted butter is going to be fresh. It's going to have more of a fresher taste to it. And then we use kosher salt in our kitchen, so the kosher salt doesn't quite dissolve into the cake, and it kind of sits there and it wakes up your taste buds as you get there. So it's going to be a fresher product, and you're going to get the nice salt that's going to wake up those taste buds.
This is a real thick batter. Is this how we're supposed to be? Okay, it's real dense.
As you bake it, those carrots release some of their juices, and it needs enough thickness to pull it together. And then, of course, you don't want those carrots to sink to the bottom of your cake. You want them to be dispersed evenly. All right, so we did the butter and the cream cheese.
Okay.
Going to go ahead and add in our powdered sugar here. A couple cups of powdered sugar, so that's kind of the basis there. If I was mixing together the pound or so of cream cheese and then a couple cups of powdered sugar as well.
We're using 2 rounds. Are these 8-inch rounds?
8-inch rounds,
okay.
Yep. And that will make 2 8-inch rounds or 9x13 pans. So if you're somebody that doesn't like to do the layered cakes and just do the straight 9x13, it'll work out just fine.
And then we buttered these, right?
Yep.
Okay.
And
oven temperature?
350, about a half an hour or so. Do the toothpick test to it. Make sure that the toothpick comes out clean before you actually pull them out of the oven for good.
Okay.
And then you want to let them cool completely before you actually frost them. All right. Icing's just starting to come together too.
Yeah. And we have some cake and frosting that's already done, so we can go ahead and work on that.
The frosting takes about 2 or 3 minutes at least to whip it together. You want it really nice and fluffy.
Yeah.
And then I've got the finished cake over here as well. So what I do is I take them out of the pan, let them cool, then I take them out of the pan.
Okay.
And then wrap them up in plastic wrap and let them sit there the rest of the time cooling while they have a little bit of moisture inside the plastic.
Why do the plastic wrap?
Really keeps in all that moisture.
Okay.
You know, carrot cake is such a rich, moist cake. I like to kind of seal in as much moisture as I can with that.
That's a good tip, because nobody likes a dried out cake, you know?
No, and that's one way to kind of help prevent that.
Yeah. So, okay, now you've cut it into, so we're going to have lots of layers of frosting.
Lots of layers. That's one thing that we do is lots of layers because I love the filling.
Yum, yum.
So this is a 6-inch cake, not an 8-inch cake, but it'll all work the same.
Okay, all right.
And I take
I'll
the bottom
let you keep
layer.
going and piling up, and we'll show you. I just want to dive into
I was going to say, the cream cheese icing, you can see fluffiness to it.
Recipes on our website, or if you want one of these and you don't feel like baking, give Lindsay a call, Runaway Spoon. She'd be happy to bake for you or cater your next